Okay, we're live.
Okay, let me see. Yes, we are live right now. Okay.
Yay.
Hi, everyone. Facebook. Yeah, we got
Hello.
it. Hi. Hello.
Welcome to After Church Tea Time.
Yes, welcome. And today we're discussing the sermon about respect and like how do you respect God and everything what that means. So yeah, we're just gonna we're just gonna go into it without further ado. And so like what major points did you guys like all take away from it? And yeah, what really struck your heart and how do you relate to it? Yeah.
I think it was perfect as every sermon, and this one really touched me and really spoke to me in every way. Every single word that Jeff was saying was answering everything that I needed to know today, and like to really give me the next piece in my journey as always. And yeah, like respect, like that's literally, I feel like it's something that we've been healing as a collective. What it really means to be respected and what it really means to respect. I feel like it's so important, and that to me, I was kind of like going back and forth, like how do I know if I'm really respecting myself or not, or God or not. Like I was kind of like confusing in that way. And then throughout the sermon, Jeff was very clear with that, and he in a way of just saying, just by respecting yourself, by what Shalia said, like by realizing that God really respects you. When she said that feels so good, like that I felt like important, like I was like, oh my God, like this is like this is actually how God sees us, like to me it really helped me to let go more of like the false God that I used to believe in before. Like I thought like the God was someone that, or something that I have to bow, and of course bow, but like maybe like I'm always like making mistakes, and like I have to be punished. Whereas like today, Shalia, when she said that, it was very healing for me to realizing that no, like the real God respects you, and that's the truth of who you are, and that's the truth of who all are. So that was just so powerful, and every single part of it. And when Jeff started to really love us, and like go like all in with it, I love
I love it.
I was like, like, this is it. Like I was feeling like I was being like I was having a glass of like divine water, like that felt so good to me. Like that felt so, I felt so nurtured, and so relieved too. And yeah, like I said, I've been working through that with my twin flame too, like respect and respecting myself. And I feel like a lot of clarity, and I'm very happy to be discussing this today with you guys, and with everyone who's watching, because this is perfection. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. That was beautiful. And yeah, I really relate to that too. We've had the same kind of things with like respect and stuff, and like, but mainly just like yeah, just like respecting our life and like things like like particularly like with like planning things, or what I mean, like respecting the time that you need to like get ready, to be supported in like doing something. Because we just moved actually yesterday. So, but anyway, so to a place temporarily for our HTFU to stay until we move into an apartment more permanently. But the experience was like very intense and stressful, but we worked through it where it got peaceful. But because we didn't like plan or put in time ahead of time, and not respecting the landlords and stuff, like they say you have to be out at a certain time. So that was a lesson for us to learn to just like take some time and like look at your life and like see like what do I have to do, and like talk to God about it, like should we take time to prepare for this, and all of that. But I really took away from the sermon that, you know, you can tell if you're respecting God by if you're like happy or not, you know, basically. Because like an obedient child is a happy child with God because he is good and he provides good things. And I think that maybe we might confuse God with our biological parents, because sometimes we might have felt like we have to rebel. We have to go against what they say. I know I felt that way. Like I have to go against what they say in order to be happy. And that's totally true, you know, because like they didn't know me. They had their own agenda and stuff. And so, but just knowing that God isn't that way and that you can trust God and it's not the same, you know, as that childhood experience. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's
I love
interesting.
that.
Ooh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something that was like going on here. And when Jeff said that, like, you know, you're not respecting God when you're not really trusting, when you're not having faith too, right? Like that really touched me too, because like just before the sermon, I was going through an experience where I was not feeling respected, and I was like, you know, and I was like, why do I keep, you know, falling into this? And then I realized like, oh, I'm not really respecting myself because I'm not really respecting God in a way of like, you know, I'm second doubting a lot of things in my life right now instead of like really going deeper with my trust and with my respect. And I feel like I feel like that's the most important piece of today's sermon, like, you know, to really trust. And that's how you respect God, by really trusting and not like doubting, because you know that's also how you know when he's, you know, speaking, right? Or else like I tend to doubt a lot of things, and so sometimes, you know, it's got telling me something, but I'm second doubting, like second questioning myself and stuff like that. So for me, Jay was very, very straight there by saying like, no, like fuck that, pretty much, you know, like respect God by trusting like what the God promises, you know. I see so many people feeling like, you know, like disappointed and like very like, you know, like with this like kind of like a depression wave of like, oh, you know, nothing is going to happen for me, nothing is going to work out for me or stuff like that. And that's disrespectful with God, right? Because that's not believing that the promise that you were given is going to happen. And it's like, you know, it's time to really respect that it's there, and go along with living life from that place. Yeah, so that's what I think it's like the biggest takeaway for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. By the way, I just wanted as a reminder, I know that we're very, you know, free with our expression and it's awesome, but this is church and so we must limit profanity. So God just, I had to say that because God told me. Okay. So stepping into this, yeah.
Okay.
Well, but anyway, but thank you. Yeah. So yeah.
Something, Sage, when you were talking earlier about how one of your takeaways was if you're happy, then you know you're respecting God like an obedient child is a happy child, right? That reminded me of Jeff's Corvette story and how just saying yes to God, he was fully supported, right? In ways like he couldn't have necessarily foreseen on his own, right? And so for me, part of that takeaway was also like when you're respecting God, you are also experiencing full support. And if you're ever like, if you feel like you aren't experiencing support, there's somewhere where you're disrespecting and not saying yes to God there, right? Because when you say yes to God, he gives you everything you need, right?
Yeah.
Amen. Yeah, we experienced this firsthand today alone. Stasia and I, we went to Target. We were just gonna get a thing for our headphones for church today. And we just were walking near the electronics and we both caught our eye got caught on this Canon printer that you can send Bluetooth pictures from your phone, your iPhone. And we saw it. And
actually no, we saw a Fujifilm.
Oh, we saw a bunch of
one.
them. Okay, yeah.
And you're like, oh, this one's on sale. And I was like, I don't think that's the one.
Yeah.
So the Canon, then we looked at the Canon one,
Right.
and he made me get out my crystal ball.
Yeah, she has a crystal ball app that when we're out in public, if we want to talk to God, and we want just like a clear confirmation of something, besides asking for signs and things like that. So we asked this crystal ball thing, and yesterday it kept giving us like no's and things like that.
It was like wonky, and I was like, is it gonna work? Like, is it working?
Right. Yeah, and then in my head I was just kind of like, God, if we're meant to buy this, because this is not what we intended to buy. I didn't like even think about this before coming to Target. This is what if this is what we're meant to buy, and this is what you want us to buy, you need to say yes. Like, it has to be a firm yes, and only then will I purchase
dramatic,
it.
But
like it was like I was like, God, like I just like want a clear sign here. And then you did the ball, and it was like, definitely yes, or something like that.
Yeah, it was like this long sentence about, yes, this is what you're supposed to do. It wasn't even just a yes.
Yeah. And so we got it. Yeah, that's just like one of the many things that like have been kind of showing up in our reality.
Yeah.
Touch more on that.
Well, I think the more like amazing story was our experience at Big Lots.
Oh God.
For some reason, like, we set foot into that store and I was like, this feels really good. I said, I don't know why, but it feels good. So we just walked around, la-di-da, and then it was there was this table, an outdoor table, a new miracle table. We had a whole other miracle table. This is second miracle table. And so we walked around the store, and then we came back, and like, my uncle works there, and he just looked fucking divine. And he's like talking to Ray, like explaining the whole thing, and I'm like, oh my God, like God is speaking through him to Ray right now. And then his coworker was on the side, was like, I don't like that plan. And he just listened to what my uncle said, basically, and is the moral of the story. But it's like this really nice outdoor table, and the chairs like slide under it. Like, it's really, really nice. But like, we just listened to God, and I definitely had upsets coming up. Like, how are we gonna do this? Are we spending like
too much money? Oh my God, my account.
Blah, blah.
Yeah, well, because the table was pretty expensive, and I was kind of like, there's no way we're gonna be able to afford this. Like, we just moved into a house, we're buying all this stuff, like, there's no way. And we just like kept like healing through that, and we actually halfway through the store, we found this beautiful little plaque here, and it says, where God guides, he provides.
And that was like
our sign.
We're like, okay, get in this table.
And so I just trusted God, and I was just like, if it's coming out of my account, it's coming out of my account, and we're just gonna make it work. And I got up to the front, and I did what her uncle said, and I ended up being able to only put down $100 worth of stuff for what was, almost 5 times more than that.
It's like,
and it was a perfect plan.
It's like $50 a month or something for 12 months, maybe. But it's the only thing that we even had to like have a payment for, and we almost have everything in our house.
It was crazy.
So,
but it was so perfect, because I was like, I don't know if I want $500 coming out of my bank account right now.
Yeah.
And it was perfect because it was just the amount that we could get out of the account that felt good. And it was perfectly divine, and God completely provided for us there.
Everywhere.
Yeah. And I think it's just because we're living from the place of like what God says I do, which is what Jeff is saying. Can you talk? So Lisi said, can you talk about how to get clear on when God is asking to do something? The crystal ball is really cool, but many of us don't have one. How do we get better at determining a yes versus no with God directly? So yes. So no, I think, is when you can't feel anxious, right? So like, I feel like for us,
like heavy.
Yes. That's
like
no.
When we were in Big Lots, it was like it was like,
light.
oh, like
Yeah.
this feels really, really good.
Yeah.
You know, and we were just like la-di-da, walking through the store,
Yeah,
you know.
it feels peaceful, it feels easy, it feels light. And the no is typically like anxiety, heaviness, that kind of thing. And also, give another example too. I was about to buy, we were getting an air conditioning unit for our house. I was about to buy an air conditioning unit, right? This is a good example of when God says no.
Oh yeah, he
And
did tell us no.
I kept getting distracted. I kept doing other things. And I couldn't just sit down and get the air conditioning unit that I wanted to buy.
Away.
So I walked away from it. And then all of a
got
sudden,
a call. My stepdad's like, oh yeah, like I found this air conditioner. It's $250.
it was two.
But
for the
I was
price of
like,
one.
okay, can you get two of them? Like, is that possible? And he's like, oh yeah. And all the air conditioners we were looking at were like $400 and something.
Right.
And we spent $500 on two of like the same thing. So
it was crazy. So like, yeah. And
so he told us no, and we listened to that is the point.
And we
like,
got something better.
Yeah, we got something way better.
Yeah.
So like we've had yeses and nos, and we listened to all of them, and we got everything that we wanted.
Yes.
So
amen. Yeah. So that's just been our experience. Do you guys have experiences of like, or thoughts around like when you say no?
You're so cute. I love you.
Do you guys have experiences of like when you say yes and no, like when God says yes and no to you guys, or how that works?
I feel like.
Oh, go ahead, Susie.
Oh, okay.
Who should go ahead?
We'll both go. I feel like something I've had to kind of like heal and really notice within myself as far as listening to God's word is like really staying in my heart about it, right? Because I think it's really easy sometimes to want to evaluate something like once again, going back to the Corvette example, I feel like that was just such a good example.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. Right. Like Jeff and Shalia could have sat down and been like, oh, well, this is a little risky, like not sure, even though like we feel really guided to, like maybe just wait. Right. But just, and as Danny was talking about earlier, really trusting that inner guidance and knowing it'll be okay. And to do that there's like a certain practice of staying in your heart and really listening to what's going on there, I feel like. And yeah, that's just something that's important. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I had one too just now, like just before this. I was like, I was like asking God like which Zoom account I should use, and he's like, use it to Twin Flames Universe one, and I was like, no. What if there's another meeting going on? I want to sign into mine. So I'm on a Mac, and so I tried to click it, and it put the beach ball of death came up, on the Mac where the beach ball is spinning, and it's like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to let you select your own Zoom account. And I was like, oh, damn it. I mean, oh, sorry. And then I was like, darn.
Breaking your own rule.
Yeah. I was like, darn, or shucks. And yeah, and then I was like, you know what? I feel like God just wants me to trust and use the Zoom account. It was TFU and it's going to be fine. So I did, and then it was fine. So
I think the biggest thing is it should feel peaceful.
yeah.
When it feels, when you feel peace, follow the peace. Always follow peace. And like you said, Susie, I love what you said. Like, you're so right. Like, we can get that initial feeling of peace, and like we get that yes from God, right? But then we'll like pull ourselves out of it, right? We'll like take ourselves out of God's guidance, of God's voice.
And we don't need to, we don't need to beat ourselves up for it, but it's a fact that that's really painful, and it's safe to stop.
Yeah.
And it's just to stop. Yeah.
Yep.
And it's challenging too, how Jeff said that, like, it's gonna be challenging to really follow that, but you have to really stick to it. Like in my case, I feel like it's been about like moving out. I've been going like, really thinking about it, and then I'm like, oh no, like I'm just gonna take, some extra time at my parents so I can just ground my finances a little bit more, and then I'll move out. And then I say that to myself, and I'm like, okay, that feels good. And then again, the feeling of like, no, like I just want to have my own place, and like I feel cold, and And then I kind of like go back to no, I'm just gonna wait. And then yesterday I was watching a class, and I was actually doing like some work, and I was like, I needed to channel something. And so I was just I picked like a random class, and it was so funny. And like I just picked this random class, and I just like, I went to the middle of the class and I just hit play. And then it was Crystal talking with Jeff, and Jeff telling Crystal, like, you just move out. Like that was literally the first thing, like that was just it. And I was like, shit, okay. So that was like really straightforward to me, like, like really the answer, because I was even thinking like, okay, maybe I'm just like really thinking about a lot of things. And that was so straight. And it was like, I feel like God really told me like, this is it. Like, this is all that you have to do right now. Like, there is nothing else, that you don't have to worry about anything. Just do it, like, just trust. Because I was like, kind of like being this, like deceiving myself there, thinking like, oh, like I said, like I want to make sure that my finances are very good, because I don't want to be in a place where like I have to, I pay rent, and then I want to eat good. I want to have a good life. I want to treat myself good. And so I was thinking about all of that. And like, that's why I wanted to wait maybe like, an extra 2 or 3 months, but it keeps coming back and it keeps coming back. And I feel like that's how I'm not respecting that's like, I'm not trusting that's where everything lies for me right now. Like I just have to make that shift. And then from there, it like, just take it. And so, yeah, that's what's coming to me right now. And so it's like, okay, fine. Like, all right, like, okay.
I know.
Which is
I just want to say, it's so refreshing to just like accept God's directness. And like, it's so refreshing when like Jeff and Shlee are so direct, and you're just like, just do it, just do it. And it's just so nice, it's nice to move from that space, but you have to really like trust,
Right. It's about building that relationship. Like each time you're building that trust with God, you're building your relationship with God in this place, in that place of respect and just listening to God. And every time that you do listen to God and you trust your heart there, that you build that foundation of, you keep building on your relationship with God there. And if you don't, God will teach you.
He'll humble you real quick.
Yeah. I like how Jeff said in somewhere, I think TFAS, he was like, it's like a bank account, and you just keep depositing trust into your bank account with God. And that's really nice, because you're just like, every time I do this, it really matters and it really improves my life. Everything counts.
Yeah.
And I feel like, what really helps to get clear on, like if everyone, is watching this and like is still confused on like how to get clear on like when is the right thing, like when it's really respect. I feel like it's what you guys were saying, like it's, it feels peaceful, but you are afraid of doing it, right? So in my case, it's like when I think about moving out, it feels like heaven to me. It feels so good, it feels like, oh my God, I'm in heaven. Like that's how it feels. But then the reason why I've been like holding myself back is because like of fear. And so that's how you know that, like, it's like you really want something, but you don't believe that you can have it, or you're holding on to a pattern or whatever. And so you're not really giving that to yourself. That's how you know, because you really desire that, but but instead you fall into these thoughts that are telling you that you shouldn't. So I feel that's how you can really get clear.
Yeah. And I just wanted to say something too, like, God doesn't desire you to be poor. That's a choice you make, right? And so you can actually choose to be rich, right? God wants to give you all the wealth in the world. So when like Jeff said, he had said something about all debts must be paid. I just want to talk about the other side of it too, like not just like buying stuff, but also receiving money. I know a lot of people in the spiritual community are really afraid of like, making money
into themselves.
That, I mean, more so like receiving money for their gifts, right?
Oh yeah.
Right. Like I see so many coaches sometimes with really, really low price points. I've been one of those, and just people not honoring themselves in that
the
way.
value that you give to the world.
Yeah. And so I just loved what he said around like all debts must be paid and what you give you must receive. So yeah, it's there's something to that side of things too. And remembering just that, like, yeah, it's like you're disrespecting God, or by basically by not seeing yourself as his divine child who's worthy of all the gifts from his divine kingdom, essentially. So I just want to point that out. Also, Oceana, do you want to read what Oceana said?
Yeah.
What did she say?
This is helping me get clear about a Tibetan singing bowl I've been wanting to get. It's on the pricey side and have not been wanting to spend the money, but God keeps saying to get it, and it feels peaceful when I think about buying it. No anxious or like I'm trying to fill something inside of me. Well, yeah, that's your sign, because like you can't cling to money either.
Amen.
Because that's like disrespecting God too.
That's what
if
Jeff
he's
said.
Like telling you to buy something and you're like, no, I need to hold on to this money. Like
that's what he said. So I wrote down, Jeff wrote, how do you respect God? He says, given something, when he gives you something, he will wait and see if you respect it. He can't give you something new if you haven't respected what he's already given you. So if you can't, and Chrissy actually said this in a class yesterday, if you can't handle, the set of money that God has given to you now, what makes you believe that he's going to give you more, right? And so it's having that relationship with God, what you guys were talking about before, and really like working, like basically not clinging on to what it is you have, because if you do that, you're going to stay at that vibration. You're not going to be able to receive more. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
As you guys are talking about that, like it's like everything just falls into place and everything just goes together, like the poverty consciousness, and then respect, and then faith. It's just all together, like in every topic, right? Like it's all just one thing, which is just peace, love, God, whatever, and like abundance, right? Like that's the whole thing. And so everything that is not aligned with that needs to be completely released. And that feels like, another example in my case would be like, I've been really thinking about doing like coloring my hair, like really doing like kind of like a new look. And I was like, and I wanted to do with a person who's very well known. He charges a lot, but because he does a very good job. And I was like, I don't care. Like I'm willing to pay because I wanna have a very nice thing done in my hair. And at the same time, I was like, oh, but like if I do that and knowing that I'm looking, to move in, maybe it's not as smart for me to do it. And I was just like second doubting again. And then, but it felt so good for me to just have it all, to do the thing that I want to do in my hair, because that's really nurturing myself, and move out. Like that's it. And it was disrespectful from my part to believe that I'm not going to be able to do all of that. And I don't choose that anymore.
Yeah. And I just want to also add to that, like, it's important to have, like, it's not like you just go around spending money and that's it, right? Exactly. It is important to have a foundation, right? Yeah. And again, being present with God, with being listening to God and respecting God means you're present with God or present with yourself, right? And so you have to be present with your money when you're spending it. So as long as you're aware of what is in your bank account, and you're aware of what is there, and things like that, and trusting God too, and trusting yourself and your intuition, you will continue to get, you'll start to like kind of master. Sorry, guys. You'll start to master this kind of communication with God, where you are constantly kind of like asking, like, okay, do I have enough for this? Does this work? Am I supposed to get this? Are we good? What about here? And it's just really about being present with it.
And dancing with God.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Oh,
it's in everything, you know, like it works for everything, not just for money or for like, you know, things like that. Like Jeff said, like it's for everything. Whenever, like, you know, like for example, you know, I had to get done a lot of work, and I needed to do it on Friday. But on Friday, God was telling me, just relax and just enjoy the time with your man right now. That's all. And I was like, but I have to just do it tomorrow. Like right now, just relax. And it really took me, like, you know, it was a challenge. It was challenging for me to say, okay, fine, I'm gonna do this tomorrow, and I'm gonna get it done, and then, you know, it's gonna be perfect. And it turned out even better than I thought, you know. So yeah, like it's just about really surrendering
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
to what feels good.
Mm.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
beyond your understanding, but you can't like you can't always try to understand something and reason it out. I mean, that's control. I mean, you know, it's just like your logic. I mean, even thought processes God is in control of, you know, and how much you're supposed to think about something or like dig into the details or not, you know. Yeah.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Michaela actually said, Danny, she said she's been thinking about doing her new hair look too. So she was excited that you mentioned that little sign there. And then Lisi said,
cool.
Yeah. And then Lacey said, I received $3,000 this week, which I know is meant to go toward our new home. Neither me nor John have a job that ties us to North Carolina, and I choose to walk with God and listen to him about where he desires us to live next. Could be God wants us to move a state or to a different state or stay in North Carolina. I choose to listen to him. I desire to do this peacefully and in God's perfect divine order. There is neither rush nor a need to delay. This will be the first time I will be aware of partnering with God in finding a new home. So yeah, same thing with Danny too, with the home. So yeah, I think that's great. And like, it's a perfect example of like how everybody in this community is moving through respect in their life, and how even with Rufan, he had said in the beginning too, so how important self-respect is. It all starts with that, right? It all starts with self-respect. And even with what Ravati did in the meditation about accepting yourself for who you are and where you are, right? It all starts there. And that's where the respect starts. And then you build upon that with God. So yeah, that's what I get from all of this today.
Yeah, I love that. I really love that. Yeah, I feel like for me too, it's about like coming out of my shell and allowing myself to be myself. More like, you know, uncensored. I mean, not, you know what I mean? And like, because Isaiah and I mean together, like we're really cute and fun.
We are.
And yeah, like weird, but
weird,
but in a respectful, good way. But I feel like God wants that to be shown to people because it's healing and it's relieving, and people like it, you know, and it's a good thing. Well, plus I like it.
That's the greatest respect too, is to share our true selves, like with each other, of course, and then with everybody else too.
And just be yourself, you know.
Yeah.
And it's disrespectful to yourself to hold on to thinking like, oh no, like that's not good, there's something wrong. It's like, no, that's not true. Like Jeff and Shalia have a lot of moments where they're just like funny and light, and I know like there was like when Shalia was singing the RESPECT song, that was hilarious, and I'm glad
perfect.
I'm glad that she shared that, you know, and she just let herself do it. You know, it was fun.
Yeah, it was.
So you know,
I like that. And I feel like respecting yourself is like very, very deeply respecting God, because he created you and he put his special little ounce of divinity and more in you, right? So it's just like really beautiful to express yourself authentically, because that's something that God absolutely adores and loves in you. And it just further builds on that respect that you're working with him on.
Amen.
Yeah. There's this song by Josh Groban I really like about, it's called So She Dances, and it's about like you know, it's just, I mean, you know, it's just from it's basically just like God looking at his daughter, whatever, his woman or whatever, like girl you, and being like, so she dances, and it's like in and out through the crowd like a glance, and it's like God loves you and he wants to dance with you and see you dance, you know, and it's not, you don't have to hold yourself back and be like, oh no, like there's something, no, like there's something wrong with me, or but I have 2 left feet or something. Like even if you were born with 2 left feet, God will manifest as the perfect man who can guide you. Maybe you're the man with 2 right feet, so that balances you out. You know, I mean, I'm just saying nothing disqualifies you from dancing with God.
Oh,
You know,
perfect.
Yeah, that feels so good. Yeah, amen. Yeah,
Stephanie
Michaela,
also said, sorry, I just want to say real quick, Stephanie said in the comments that she loves that song. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I just wanted to say also to Michaela, like, let's just do her hair and let's dance with God afterwards.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
your
cute.
hair, Danny.
Yeah.
That's a good girl
It's
state.
great. That's you choosing your authentic self, Danny.
Yeah, I know. I was actually thinking about doing pink, but then I was like, okay, maybe not. You know,
Why not?
I'm just, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna get used to that every day, like all pink. Well, I feel like I'm just gonna feel into it.
Yeah.
Like all pink, like 100%. Oh my God.
No. Well,
Oh, maybe.
That's pretty.
Also, Adeji said, same here, similar to Lisi's situation, looking for an apartment. Lisi pulled him an oracle card the other day that said to cooperate instead of compete. I choose to follow God's guidance and respect his word and guidance. So instead of like competing with God and trying to find your way, surrendering to God and cooperating with God to discover the truth his way. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No use in fighting God, right? It's
no,
like, don't do that. It's just
bad.
you get freaking tired. Like, just surrender. It feels so much better.
Yeah. Yeah, you pretty much lose. Well, yeah, it's an illusion, but yeah.
Yeah, well, you might get in a spiritual timeout, as Jeff said, right? God puts you in a spiritual timeout. He'll humble you.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, yeah. Me
neither. I just choose to listen to God.
And even when God puts you in that spiritual timeout, like that is God, you know, also respecting you in a very eternal way, because he's not taking your disrespect or your illusions or, you know, anything silly, right? And so I like that. Shalia, I think, or, you know, Jeff and Shalia kind of touched on that in the sermon too. Like, it's not punishment, right? When you get your spiritual timeout, it's just, it's discipline, it's respect. Yeah, it's really loving.
Love.
No, we have not that well, but almost like a well, maybe we do. I don't know. So let me just say this. So we paid for this Airbnb, and it was supposed to be $555, and there's no reason why it should be more. But then I looked at my bank account, which is a new, like a relatively new habit in my life. I mean, you know, and within a year, and it's instead 666 was taken out instead of 555, and there's no reason except for God to teach me to, like, you know, stand up for myself and say no. And I looked at that. There's a difference of like 111 between them. I'm like 666 is usually a number for me. It means like, pay attention to this. Like, don't keep doing the bad thing, the shitty. Yeah, that's fine. Don't keep doing the bad thing. And I was reflecting on that, and I was like, remembering, I was like, oh my God, like I've come so far, because in the past I would have let something like that slide because I didn't want to do the work, and I didn't respect myself. But now I have the self-respect to, you know, do that, and it's really good, you know. But I feel like it's like a test, and God will be like, like God will be like, well, yeah, do you want to go after that money that's yours, or if I give you money, will you just let it slip through your fingers and that kind of thing? And so it's cool, and I'm going to do that. And I expect that it'll feel really good and it'll be rewarding, to
Mm.
do that.
Shalia asked us, she said,
Yeah.
how does respecting God change your life?
Mhm. I mean,
feel
You
like-
get everything you want
and more. Yeah, it's
instead of what
amazing.
you don't want.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like life is just a continuation of miracles every single day. It gets to a point where it's just like, because I think at first, like even for me, like I was like, oh my God, a miracle! Oh my God, a miracle! Another one, and now I'm just kind of like, yeah, that's my life. Like,
Mm.
yeah.
Mhm.
In my case, I believe that it changed in a way of like from being anxious and like with no purpose and like feeling in a way miserable to feel completely fulfilled and being at home and healed and realizing that I don't need to die to feel good. So it's it's
I
amazing.
love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it really means like respecting God means like letting go of any belief that I'm like, that I'm like not good, and just letting myself, I don't know, just like express the divinity in me and just be myself.
Yeah,
You
letting
know?
go of the bad feeling and allowing ourselves to feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And what
That's
does
what
it mean,
respect is.
like for you guys to or you Sage specifically, like that you're allowing yourself to be yourself? Like, what does it mean
Mm.
that you're doing that?
Mm.
Like, how does it feel?
Yeah. Well, it feels good. Yeah, it's like, it feels really good because, I don't know, it's really beyond my comprehension, like how good it is, but it makes me feel like alive. And for the longest time in my life, I just thought it was normal to feel really depressed and bad. And I just thought that that was the norm. And it was beyond my mental comprehension. And I just had to trust God when God told me that I was a woman and just go for it. And, even though I had a lot of resistance and like negative beliefs about women, and I've just kept persisting. And that's come up a lot recently. And Isaiah's disciplined me a lot about that and left me there recently because I've been like, I was feeling really like, I don't want to claim my femininity. I don't like it. Being a woman sucks. And I'm just like, no, that's not true. Now that I've cleared it all, we're experiencing a lot of love and intimacy. And I'm just surprised. I'm just in awe because I'm just feeling like the way I see myself, the way I am, the way I feel, it's amazing. Like I never knew that this was possible. And it's just like, that's how it is to respect your truth and to respect God's truth for you. It's just, sorry, it's a lot. You can't even fathom it, how good it is. And you just have to trust because you have to know that it's a good thing that's telling you to do this. It's your heart and it's God. And I didn't know how emotional that would be, but I felt like, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. I mean, I've only been living my truth for we're coming up on the 2-year anniversary now in like a week. So.
Shalia says, you feel relief claiming your money back and not accepting being scammed because an agreement is an agreement.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for saying that. Yeah, I feel relieved like reading that. And and it's just, honestly, my first reaction was like, oh my God, I did something wrong. I must have done something wrong. And I checked and I was like, I didn't do anything. I looked at it and there's no fees and there's no reason, why I should pay that. I mean, it's like it was like 20% more. So there's no such thing as a 20% fee for anything, except if you're like getting a scummy, like title loan from like a place, I don't know. Anyway, so yeah. Thank you.
Lacey commented, respecting God really heals my anxiety. to feel my spiritual parent backing me and guiding me. I trust God and can listen to him. He gives me everything I need. I like when Shalia talked about how we project our parents onto God and choose to receive God as giving me everything and guiding me to heaven with his way and heal from what I used to project on him.
Amen to that.
I like that a lot. I feel like my respecting God and going deeper in that has given me like the greatest relationship of my eternal life, basically, which is that with God. And having that has healed a lot of like places where I didn't feel good about my relationship with my own biological parents, and it has allowed me to like see them like divinely and like who they are as humans and when they are on their journey. And that wouldn't have been possible if I didn't just, really dive into my relationship with God. So
yeah, your biological parents are really only meant to like guide you to your own relationship with God. That's like the purpose of their parenting. Sometimes it doesn't always happen that way, but that's guiding you too.
Because you picked your parents like based on your spiritual progression.
Exactly.
Basically, you're like, oh, they're gonna trigger me so
much,
and I'm going to be close to God.
Exactly.
You want to read?
Yeah. So Sage, Shalia also wanted to say to you, she's so proud of you for respecting yourself enough to ask the question and explore, am I a woman? Many people won't even go there, but when you desire your self-realization more, you're not attached. And yeah, it's people like you, Sage, who have helped me because I've only been able to accept who I truly am as a man for the past 2 months from really just watching you bloom and blossom. So I just appreciate everything that you and Isaiah stand for this community. I really love you both so much.
Yeah, whenever Ray and I would be discussing that, I'd be like, oh, so what does Isaiah do? Or what
would Sage do?
Yeah, and
that's really sweet.
Helpful.
Yeah, we're really proud of you guys, and thank you for being a shining example in our community of really respecting God and your authentic self.
It's the feels right now.
That was such a beautiful moment.
Oh, I love twin flames. That's so good. Yeah. Where God guides, he provides.
Yeah, we'll show you again.
Yeah.
The sign of the day.
Thank you guys. Thank you for that. We received that, and it's just an honor to be ourselves,
Amen.
And that's what feels good. That's what we share with each other, and we'll continue to share that with everyone because it feels good.
It is.
Yeah.
The honor of a lifetime. And it's really good, and it's good to put a lot of attention and focus into it because because I don't know, because it's, God, how do I say this? Because it's a big deal, it's like, it's not a small, it's a really big deal for those of you who are like going through this kind of thing with changing your gender, or like, what I'm saying, like changing your gender. You have to respect how big of a deal it is, because like, this is not a minor, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm going through a lot of emotion right now, but I'm doing my best to express this, like, this is not a minor thing, like it's a big deal. And Jeff and Shalia said this in their past sermon about gender and sexual identity, like they were like, it's very psychologically demanding to do this. It is. It's very psychologically demanding. And it's okay to give yourself a lot of like space, time, nurturing, love. Like buy yourself that,
Compassion.
yeah, buy yourself that makeup and that nail polish and do your nails and like I don't know, I actually do what you get your testosterone. Isaiah started it recently.
Yeah.
I don't know, just like do what comfort yourself on this journey, you know, because like you deserve that. I mean, God, it's a slog if you don't be compassionate and gentle to yourself with this thing. So just love yourself. You're not babying yourself or being dramatic and saying like, oh my God, like it's such a big deal. Oh my God, I'm focusing on it so much. Oh my God, like that's fine.
It's actually respecting God in a massive way too, because God is asking you to, God.
A lot of comic relief is needed too.
Yeah, but like if God is asking you
Yeah.
to be compassionate with yourself and nurture yourself in this way, then that is respecting God. You know, just listen to that, because this is how God loves you. So love yourself that way.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not being like indulgent or like immature. It's very mature.
Yeah, it's the opposite.
Yeah.
I choose to embrace my divinity.
Me too.
Same here.
Okay.
Wow, this is so nice.
I feel like
Thank
every
you,
time I
guys.
talk about this, it's just like it's like
It's beautiful.
just this.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
Anyway.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel happy.
Yeah, guys. Yeah. How are you guys feeling in the comment land? Let us know. What are they saying?
Lacey says this is the best after church tea time ever.
So
Oh, good. No, it's a fact.
Yay! Love that.
Yeah. Beautiful.
How do you see all of them?
All right. I feel complete.
Me too.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels
We're
good.
good.
All the tea's been poured and drunk.
Definitely. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
Cool.
thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, God bless
Thank you
you.
for being here with us. And
Mm.
thank you everyone for being here. And
Yeah.
thank you, Jeff and Shlee, of course, for the sermon and just providing us this teaching in this space.
Yeah. We love you. Thank you.
Yeah, we love you.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.
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 See you later.
Bye-bye.